field. Can they do it again? Yes, they can!
And the catch is made by Taj Washington. Touchdown, USC.
Blocked by Embiid! Timmy, yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Beef Upfront podcast here on Pick Swap Media, the final episode of our March Madness coverage, the fifth episode for Joe and I tonight, and we are joined by our buddy Luke for our final episode here, the Mega Bracket. So we did the preview just on the Midwest region, a preview on the West region, a preview on the East, and a preview on the South. This one we'll be doing just going through the entire bracket, picking it game by game. Those ones were all broken down one by one for the regions, respective regions. So if you just want to hear about a specific one, just go check that out. But this one will be kind of just going game by game, and 2/3 majority vote will move on to the next round, and then we'll eventually get our champion. But welcome back to the show, fellas, and how are we?
Pretty good.
I'm feeling good, Beef, but I'll tell you what, I mean, those who watch our other breakdowns will understand. I'm very pissed off at our Wi-Fi I keep cutting out. Hopefully it'll stay on for the whole bracket, but let's dive into it.
All right, just to make sure, I'm moving down the screen. Can you guys see it moving?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, but so before we get into our group picks, we don't know who we're picking yet. This is just going to be kind of on the fly. So before we get into that, do you guys just want to go into your overall national champion, your personal national champion, before we find a group consensus one, and just a little bit about why you're going to pick them?
Sure. I guess I'll go first here. I got Marquette winning the whole thing. I'm a big fan. I'm a sucker for picking the Big East teams. I just love the way Big East teams play basketball. I think Marquette is probably the most efficient team in terms of controlling the game. They definitely play good offense. I like the way they play defense. They're able to control the pace at all times. They don't let up a lot of fast break points, I noticed. They're one of those teams that, realistically, they can control the game from start to finish. And if they can control the pace the whole time, I don't think there's a lot of teams that could really beat them early on. I think they can compete with all the number one seeds and teams that can, really play some good ball down the stretch. So I got Marquette. So
Luke, after the past few years, I think you'd always pick Houston, and they get the one seed, and you don't pick them this year.
Yep. They disappointed me 2 years in a row. I think it was before COVID. I want to say when we were freshmen in college, I picked them. They were like a 5 seed, and they went really far. They didn't get to the final. And then I think, what was it, last year I picked Houston too? Yeah.
Probably.
But I'm fading them this year. And this year they're going to win naturally. But
Joe, who do you got?
I am going Arizona, the Arizona Wildcats over the Texas Longhorns in the national title game. I just really like this Arizona team. I've kind of said it all year. And what really pushed me over the edge for picking them the ball, Luke and I were texting about it during the game. The Pac-12 title game, I was really impressed with Arizona. They can score the basketball. I really like their draw because Alabama, I don't know about them going all the way. The one thing about a team that relies so much on outside shooting, if they're not making their shots, I mean, it's pretty obvious they're probably going to go home. And we've seen that happen with Bama every year under Nate Oates so far in the tournament. So I'm taking Arizona to win the whole thing. I really love Ballo. I really love the Wildcats. So I'm going to take Arizona to win the national title.
Yeah, not really reinventing the wheel on this one. I'm just going to go good old reliable Kansas. I'll take them over Alabama. I think Alabama's been the most dominant team this season in college basketball, but I think Kansas is the most consistent and the most battle-tested. They have the best coach. They have a point guard who won the national championship last year. Brandon Miller has probably been the best player in college basketball, at least talent-wise, and he's had certainly some really great games. Jalen Wilson has just been super good all season, and he's a veteran guy. Been there before, was on the national championship team last year. A little bit worried about their height and potential rebounding against some of these schools that they could run into in the West region, but I'm just going to ride with Kansas. I think that they've seen too much this year. They won't be fazed by anything. but a Kansas-Bama national title game would be an awesome one, and certainly something I'm certainly rooting for. So give me Kansas to beat Alabama, and it'll be 71-68 exact score bet hitting. So that's my pick there. And then without further ado, let's get into it. Our mega picks for the bracket, going down game by game, every single game of the tournament. So we got Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Southeast Missouri. The winner of that gets to play the Tide. Anyone want to go against Alabama there?
I'll pass.
No, absolutely not.
All right, we got Bama moving on. First 8-9 game we'll be breaking down. We have number 8 Maryland versus number 9 West Virginia. I like West Virginia in this one.
I'm a big Maryland fan here. Not for any particular reason besides the fact I just think Maryland's hot down the stretch. I think they played really well to finish out the regular season. And I don't think West Virginia, out of all the Big 12 teams, is really that impressive to me. So I'm going to go with Maryland.
Joe?
Yeah. Pat, I'm not answering your FaceTime right now.
Yeah, I just got that. So
I'm going to take West Virginia over Maryland. I already broke it down earlier, but I'm a big fan of it. I think I picked every Big 12 team in the first round. And that's kind of my only logic. I think that conference gets you battle tested. The Big 10 does not. I'm going West Virginia.
West Virginia, so we got them moving on here. They'll eventually play Alabama, but we'll go through all the first round games first. We go to number 5 San Diego State versus number 12 Charleston. I like San Diego State in this one. I think that their pace of play and the way they can defend the 3-point line is the difference against a Charleston team that really likes to shoot the three, but they don't really shoot at an efficient percentage. I think that's the difference here.
Yeah, Charleston, I think, puts up a lot of shots. I have them right now in my bracket, but this is one of the two teams that I've been back and forth on. I'll roll with Charleston right now, but I think that's something that's going to change by tomorrow because I've flip-flopped them about 4 times already. So I'll roll with Charleston to leave it to Joe to pick this one.
Yeah, I won't lie, Coyle. I already said I'm a sucker for Charleston. I'm going to go Charleston advancing here.
All right, another potential upset here with number 4 Virginia versus number 13 Furman. Virginia comes in with the 360th ranked pace of play. They want to play super slow, and they're playing a Furman team that's 149th, so not the most up-tempo team, but a team that puts up 81.3 points per game and has 2 fifth-year seniors who have been through the wars. I'm going to go with Furman. I like them to get upset here and maybe even be a Sweet 16 team.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coyle. I think Furman definitely has a shot here. I like the way Virginia plays defense, but I've questioned all year their ability to score. I think if Furman can put up like 70 or 65, 70 points on Virginia, I think they have a realistic shot to win the game. So I'm going to go with Furman.
Luke, I think if Furman can just put up 60 points, I think they're going to be able to win. This game reminds me a lot of the Ohio-Virginia game from a few years ago, so give me Furman as well.
All right, we go to the 6-11 game. Just talking in this one with Joe and Sean on our last preview of the South. I said this is probably my favorite first-round game in the entire tournament. Really excited to watch this one. 4 o'clock, I believe, on Friday. It's going to be like St. Patrick's Day. The buzz is going to be swirling at that point. I can't wait for this one, but I did ride with NC State, but it's a pure toss-up for me. I'm just going to go NC State. I think their 2 guards are going to make more shots down the stretch and help carry them to a pretty big win for their program here.
Yeah, going down looking at this right now, I think this part of the bracket's definitely been the most difficult for me. I've went back and forth now between like 3 games in this bracket, this part of the bracket. I'm going to roll with NC State. I just think they're the better team overall than Creighton. But yeah, I'm just going to roll with them for now. I've flipped it about 3 times, though. That's the thing. This part of the bracket's been nuts for me. I've just been flipping between teams.
All right, so we got NC State moving on. For the record, Joe, would you have taken Creighton there?
Yeah, in my bracket, I have Creighton winning. Kind of like you guys. This is really a toss-up for me, but I'm going Blue Jays here.
All right, number 3 Baylor versus 14 UC Santa Barbara. The Gauchos. We're all taking the Bears here?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we got Baylor moving on there. Number 7 Missouri versus number 10 Utah State. The over-under in this one is 155.5. So expect this one to be up and down, a high-scoring affair. I like Missouri to pull this one out. Their team, I started riding the train for early at the beginning of the year when they started out hot. And I've kind of rode that momentum throughout the season, and they've had a few big-time wins. I think they're built for this game, and the Mountain West hasn't really fared that well in the tournament. So give me an SEC school here.
I'm going to roll with Utah State here. I'm going to fade you on this one. This is another one I've been up in the air with. I think Missouri's a good team, but I just think Utah State's going to get the better of them here. So.
In my bracket, I picked Missouri, but I will admit, this has been the hardest game for me to pick out of all the other games. Like, for the most part, I think my bracket is pretty good, like finalized. This is the one game I'm still going back and forth on. Right now, I have Missouri, so for the purposes of the beef bracket, I'll take the Tigers. But Utah State, I mean, I'm so happy the Aggies got in, and they got in pretty safely as well. This is a really good team, but the Mountain West struggles, I think, is going to be what gives Missouri the edge.
All right, number 2, Arizona versus number 15, Princeton. 154.5 is the total here. That's why I nicknamed this bracket the region of overs. I think we're going to see a lot of points in more games than not out of this bracket. But are we all on Arizona to win this one?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So that is the first round games for the South. We will go down to the East now. Purdue versus the winner of Texas Southern, FDU. We're all going FDU, right?
Yep. 6'1" average height.
All right, Purdue move on. Number 8, Memphis. Number 9, FAU. Another real toss-up game. I wound up going with Memphis. I think Kendrick Davis and just the overall amount of talent is more than what FAU's used to playing. FAU doesn't have they have 3 losses on the year, but like not really any good like non-conference wins. They didn't really see much. I think Memphis kind of hits them around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with Memphis too. I'm a huge fan just in general of what Penny Hardaway's done with that program. A lot of people wrote him off early in his career as a coach there. And I think in the past 2 seasons, he's really pulled it together, and it's a solid program now. I like Memphis a lot in this one.
All right, so we
Agreed.
got
Memphis. Yeah, Memphis.
Clean sweep there. Another potential upset game. Duke's only a 6.5-point favorite entering this one, and that's number 5 Duke versus number 12 Oral Roberts. I'm gonna go with Duke. I think you can make an argument that they're playing the best ball in the country out of anyone right now. Oral Roberts, a team led by Max Asmus, who made a run to the Sweet 16 as a 15 seed a few years ago. I just don't think that they have the magic in them this year. I'm gonna go with Duke in this matchup here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Duke, too, and I like their matchups going into the Sweet 16. I think they have a pretty nice road as well, so I'll go with Duke.
Yeah, I'm going to also say this. I think everyone's going to kind of be in agreement here. Duke to the Sweet 16. I just think I'm going to pencil that in right now. I don't like anything that Tennessee or Louisiana Lafayette is going to be able to bring to the table against Duke. Kind of like I've already said, Oral Roberts, great team. If they got literally any other 5 seed, I would take them to win. Duke is just playing really good basketball right now.
Yeah, if they got San Diego State, maybe I would have taken Miami over Oral Roberts, but yeah, I agree. I think I would have taken them over anyone else. Number 4, Tennessee versus number 13, Louisiana. Maybe the game I'm looking forward to the least out of the first round. I think this one is going to be a boring snooze fest. Really love the under here. I do like Tennessee to pull it out, though.
Yeah, I agree, Beef. I'm going Tennessee as well. This, along with another game in this region, are kind of 2 games that I'm not really looking forward to. But I'll go Vols here. As much as the hatred you and I have for the Vols, it should say something that we're taking them over Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Vols either, but I'll take them here.
All right, another really good game. Bryson Hopkins, revenge game for Providence against Kentucky. Went to Kentucky last year, barely played, and then he averaged like 18 this year at Providence. A lot of pressure on Coach Cal in this one. Ed Cooley rumors about potentially going to Georgetown. A lot of storylines in this game, and it's on Friday night, I believe, at 7:10. So great spot. But I had Providence this morning, and I flipped my pick to Kentucky in the afternoon. I think the pressure on Coach Cal is just too much in this one. And I think that they're playing really good basketball against teams not named Vanderbilt. Won 5 of their last 7, and the only 2 losses were against Vandy in the regular season and in the SEC tournament. So if Providence is able to like emulate some of the stuff this week in practice and just in their overall game plan that Vanderbilt was doing, maybe that they could knock off Kentucky, but I'll take the Cats here.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with the Cats as well.
Yeah, Kentucky to cover. The more I look at this game, the more Providence has just not been playing good basketball to end the season. I think they're kind of cool. You touched on this earlier when we talked during this breakdown of the region. The rumors about Ed Cooley to Georgetown are definitely heating up. There's a lot more pressure on Kentucky. I think that pressure is going to come through and kind of be the reason why Providence loses. Providence players are kind of looking around like, well, if our coach is, kind of looking at other jobs, we're kind of fading, what's the point kind of thing. Like we were fading, then we have to go play Kentucky. Like Kentucky is still Kentucky, even though they're 6th seed. So I'm going to go Wildcats here, and I'm going to take them to cover.
All right, number 3, Kansas State versus number 14, the Montana State Bobcats. Joe's Bobcats, too. I don't think your Bobcats are making it out of this round, though, Joe. I'll go with Kansas State, battle-tested team out of the Big 12.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with the Cats.
Yeah, I got a Kansas State shirt and a Montana State shirt. Might do like a split thing on Friday night. Might just tape them both to my shoulders and wear nothing underneath. Let everyone see what's going on. But I'll take the Wildcats here. Nightmare fuel on St. Paddy's Day.
All right. Number 7, Michigan State versus number 10, USC. Joe, we went in depth about this one, but the body clock disadvantage for USC. This is a 12 o'clock Eastern time tip on Friday, 12:15, the first game on Friday afternoon. So that's at 9:15 a.m. body clock time for this USC team that hasn't played east of the Mountain Time Zone since November 25th when they played in the Battle for Atlanta. So a team not used to playing this early in the morning. I think that puts them at a huge disadvantage against a Michigan State team that routinely plays games at like 12 or 1 on weekends. So I really like Michigan State in this one, and I really like them in the first half. I think that might be one of my bigger plays of the tournament.
Love that time zone breakdown. I'm going to go with Michigan State, too.
Sparty.
All right, number 2, Marquette versus number 15, the Catamounts of Vermont. Luke already touched on his national title pick is Marquette, so I have Marquette in the Final Four in my main bracket. I assume, Joe, you're rolling with the Golden Eagles as well?
Yes, I am.
I actually had Vermont and then double or nothing Marquette. They got a play back in game and then won the title.
That's the
All
3.
right.
That's the 3.
Yeah, we move over to the Midwest now. Number 1 seed, and that is Houston playing number 16, Northern Kentucky Norse. All rolling with the Cougars here.
Yep.
All right, we go to the 8-9 game. I said that the Tennessee-Louisiana game might be the game I'm looking forward to the least. This might be the second most. I don't think either of these teams are good. I think this is a pretty down year in terms of quality of basketball. Like I think on a normal year, these two teams wouldn't be making it in the tournament. Just not very impressive squads. I did wind up going with Iowa. Their turnover margin was a little bit better than Auburn, and I think that was the sticking point for me. So I'm going to go with Iowa here, but could really see this one going either way.
Yeah, I ended up going with Auburn in this one, but at the end of the day, whoever you pick, I don't think either one has a shot against Houston. So I'm just going to go with Auburn here. But it's a real toss-up.
Yeah, Iowa doesn't impress me. Also, this game, we already touched upon it, Coyle, being in Birmingham. I've never seen a 9 seed get a home game before in the tournament. Like, that's crazy. But I'm going to go Auburn here over Iowa.
All right, so Auburn moving on there. 2 out of the 3 votes. Number 5, Miami versus number 12, Drake. Miami only a 2.5-point favorite here. A lot of buzz surrounding this Drake team, especially with the injury to the big man, Norchad Amir on Miami. I'm still going to ride with Miami, though. Experienced guards who've played in March and a really good coach, Jim Larinaga as well. ACC Player of the Year and Isaiah Wong. I'm going to roll with the Hurricanes there still.
Yeah, it's a weird line. I agree with that. 2.5 is a weird line for this game, but I think Miami still pulls it out.
Yeah, completely agreed. Ride the Wong.
All right, number 4, Indiana versus number 13, Kent State. I woke up this morning and I had Indiana, I believe, in my Sweet 16. Yeah, going up against Houston. I convinced myself, though, into Kent State. I think they have the bodies to throw at Trace Jackson-Davis down low. And then Sincere Carey, a really good guard. I think that this is a team in Kent State that could really put a scare into Indiana, and I think that they wind up pulling off the upset here and going on to the round of 32.
I completely agree with you. I love Kent State in this one. I love their ability to score. They could play really, really fast. So I definitely like them over Indiana. I don't think Indiana is a very good basketball team outside of Trace Jackson Davis. I don't think they play very well as a team. I think it's literally just him as like an NBA player playing with whoever they throw on the court with him. So I'm going to go with Kent State here.
Yeah, I'm also riding the Flashes, but I will say it does make me nervous that like everyone is on Kent State. Like even like, the two of us, the three of us, earlier when we had Buckets and RJ on, even like, listening to podcasts and watching like Field of 68, seeing on ESPN, a lot of people are talking about the Flashes. So that does make me nervous, kind of like, hey, too many people are on the Flashes, but I still think they pull the upsets. The Sear Carey is different.
All right, number 6, Iowa State, the Cyclones, team of one of the main teams. I think we've talked about this here on the show, playing the winner of Mississippi State Pitt. So I guess start it off. Do you guys like Mississippi State or Pitt to win that playing game?
I'm going to roll with Pitt.
I'm going to go with Pitt too. So, all right, Pitt or Iowa State then? I like Pitt in that one.
I like Pitt as well. I think that's the one game that I like of the playing games to win. So.
Yep, I agree. Pitt.
Yeah, 10 out of the 11 years that the first 4 has been in existence, one of the playing teams has moved on to the round of 32. So I think we see it there. I think either Mississippi State or Pitt. I kind of like either to win that game. So I guess we'll just see what happens. But for the show's sake, we're going Pitt. But if Mississippi State wins, we're cheering for them as well. Number 3, Xavier versus number 14, Kennesaw State. Joey Buckets took his Kennesaw State Owls in this one. I can't do that, though. I think Xavier is going to score too much for them to keep up, and I like Xavier to move on.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm a sucker for the Big East teams in the first round. I agree with you. Xavier's going to score a lot. I know they finished the season a little rough in that tournament, but they're going to score a lot of points. I don't see Kennesaw sticking with them.
All right, well, we made it that far before Joe cut out. So I knew he had Xavier earlier, so we'll have them moving on. Number 7, Texas A&M versus number 10, Penn State. I know Joe was saying he thinks Penn State's magic kind of ran out there in the Big Ten tournament. I agree, and Texas A&M finished second in the SEC this year, seated all the way down at 7, a bit disrespectful. I think this is a pretty good matchup for them too. I think they match up well against a Penn State team that really likes to shoot the 3, and Texas A&M is a pretty solid team when it comes to defending the 3-point ball. So I guess we'll have Texas A&M moving on there, but do you?
No Aggies.
There he is. But no, I got Texas A&M as well. Texas A&M's actually in my Elite 8. I think they're one of the hotter teams right now. They've been playing really well. I like them a lot.
All right, another one that's getting some upset buzz potentially, and this would be a big one in 2:15, Texas versus Colgate. I'm not buying into it, though. I think Texas is too athletic and big at the end of the day, so I'll have Texas beating Colgate here.
Yeah, I'm with Texas as well. I was all over Colgate early, but then I was thinking Texas could have been a 1 seed like easily. So I'm gonna roll with Texas.
Yeah, horns up for this one. Shout out Kennesaw State. I know I cut out during it. Have a shirt for Kennesaw State. Gonna probably bet them on the spread and ride with my Owls.
All right, we go down to the West now for the final grouping of first-round games. Kansas versus Howard. We'll go with the Jayhawks over the Bison there. Number 8, Arkansas versus number 9, Illinois. Another pure coin flip, 8-9 game. I'm going to ride with Arkansas, though. I just think they're too talented, and I like the coaching matchup of Eric Musselman. I think he has the advantage over Brad Underwood in this game.
Yeah, I'm also on Arkansas. I think Illinois is a little inconsistent. You really don't know what Illinois team's going to show up to that game, so I'm going to roll with Arkansas.
Completely agree.
All right, number 5, St. Mary's versus number 12, VCU. Another body clock game. VCU, East Coast team. They get to play at 2 o'clock and up in Albany, New York. They're playing number 5 seed St. Mary's, who got the gift of being a 5 seed, and they get sent all the way out to Albany, New York for a 2 o'clock tip-off. So an 11 o'clock body clock time for game time for them, something that they haven't been used to all year. They haven't played a game that early all season. VCU, on the other hand, East Coast team, not going to be much of an adjustment for them. Going to be very slow, low-scoring type game. I think physical battle, and I think VCU pulls it out.
Yeah, I'm on VCU as well. I was really high on St. Mary's early on this year, but they kind of pickered off a little bit. I'm going to go with VCU.
Yeah, I completely agree. Gave my breakdown earlier. I was all in on St. Mary's, had him as a sleeper Final Four team. Now I'm going VCU first round.
All right. Next one. Number 4, UConn versus number 13, Iona. I gave my prediction on the West preview that Iona is going to win this game. They are 53rd in the country, I believe it was, in forcing turnovers per game at a little over 15 a night. And UConn is the 228th worst team in the country when it comes to turning over the basketball out of 363 teams at, I believe, 12.8 turnovers per game. I think that with the combination of Rick Pitino finding ways to force more pressure on this UConn team that doesn't have a true point guard comes back to bite them. And Dan Hurley gets his 3rd consecutive first-round exit as head coach of the UConn Huskies, Joe.
Hoping you're wrong. Obviously, I'm picking UConn, but I'm also really hoping that the Rick Pitino to St. John's news kind of has the same effect that I'm thinking it's going to have for Providence with Ed Cooley. I'm hoping that the Iona players are kind of like, screw it. You know, if Pitino's leaving, our coach wants to get out of here. Who cares? Big UConn guy. Really hope they pull it out, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on UConn too, Joe. I'll roll with you here. I'm rolling with my UConn fans. Definitely a Big East fan in this tournament. Like I said, I think UConn does pull this one out, though.
I think, though, if UConn does get through this game, like, I could see a path where they go to the Final Four. Like, I'm just worried about them getting over that first-round hump and past Pitino. But, like, I like them over VCU, and I think they match up well against either Kansas or Arkansas. Just getting over this first-round game, it's a little weird to me. But, all right, number 6, TCU versus number 11, the winner of the playing game between Arizona State and Nevada. Do you guys like Arizona State or Nevada in that one first?
I like Arizona State, but that's also a toss-up. I don't think either team's really good, but
I like Arizona State too. Joe?
Forks up, Arizona State.
But I do like TCU to beat either Arizona State or Nevada. In our case, Arizona State. I just like the Big 12 teams and what they've been through this year. And Mike Miles, Damian Ball, 2 high-level shot-making guards. I'll take that over Arizona State.
Yeah, feed me the Froggies.
All right. Historic year for TCU athletics continues on.
Right.
Number 3, Gonzaga versus number 14, Luke's Antelopes of Grand Canyon. I'll go with Gonzaga here, though. I think they have a potential to be in Houston playing in the Final Four. I don't think they have much expectations on them this year, and I think that might be the best thing for them.
Yeah, I'm with you on Gonzaga.
Yeah.
I just think they're too good for them. Oh, sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just saying, Zags. Got nothing really else to say. Zags.
Number 7, Northwestern versus number 10, Boise State. Another toss-up game. Last year, though, 3 out of the 4 7 seeds beat a 10, and I believe 3 out of the 4 were also under games were within 5 points. So I do expect a close battle here, but I'll go with Northwestern. I think that their duo of Chase Aldridge and Boo Buie will be the 2 best players on the floor, and when you get them both on the same team, I'm going to lean that direction.
I guess I'll say Boise State.
Yeah, I'm going Boise State as well. I don't know. I just don't like Northwestern here. It's kind of just like a history thing. Only one NCAA tournament appearance before then. Boise State had a great year, Northwestern had a great year. Kind of like what I said. If they lose one Big Ten regular season game more, they're the 9 seed instead of the 2. Give me the Broncos, my only Mountain West team. I think that's going to win a game.
All right. UCLA or the Bulldogs of UNC Asheville, all riding UCLA despite the injuries here.
Yep.
Bruins.
All right. That'll wrap up the round of 64. We head to the round of 32 now. Back to the South, top left. Alabama versus West Virginia. I like Alabama here. I think whether it's Maryland or West Virginia, they have a very, very nice potential path to a Elite Eight.
Yeah, give me the Tide.
Yeah, Bama.
Right. Charleston, Furman. My personal bracket, I have Furman to the Sweet 16, and I have them beating San Diego State, so I guess I have to ride with Furman here. But this would be a really fun game. Like San Diego State, Virginia want to play at like a snail's pace. These two want to play like a bunch of jackrabbits and score 85 points, and first one to 100 potentially wins. But pretty close. But I'm gonna go with Furman. I think they have 2 fifth-year guys who've been through the wars and are kind of waiting for that March breakthrough. This is my dark horse Sweet 16 team this year.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those what you live for to watch March Madness. You're 12 versus 13 here. I'm gonna roll with Charleston in this one. No rhyme or reason for it. I just think Charleston, plays really fast. If they beat San Diego State, I think they got a good shot here.
I'm going Furman here. Hopefully you guys can hear me, because if not, that would really suck. I have Furman, Charleston in my actual bracket as well, and I'm taking Furman with the upset there over Charleston. Good to see the Paladins in the Sweet 16. First time making the tournament since 1980. Paladins last year, they suffered heartbreak in their conference title game against Chattanooga. I think they've been using that as revenge this whole year. Give me Furman.
All right, we got Furman moving on to play Alabama. Alabama's path gets even easier than probably to a potential Final Four. We got number 11, NC State versus number 3, Baylor. I think if this is a matchup, the projected total might be like 158.5 or something. Like these two feature guards that can really shoot the ball and really know how to score. Be an exciting game, but I think Baylor is just a notch above NC State right now, so I'll take Baylor in that one.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Joe still
Second Bears.
All right, there we go.
Second Bears.
Number 7, Missouri versus number 2, Arizona. Another reason why I called this the region of overs. I think this is another one that could be like high 150s, low 160s. Huh?
What do you say?
Okay, so I'm like 30 seconds behind audio-wise, because I just said that like 20 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's just keep going on.
Let's keep going.
All right. Missouri versus Arizona. I expect this one to be, like I was saying, a high-scoring, up-tempo game. But I will take, if it does come to this, I'm going to go with Missouri. I think that pace-wise, they have the potential to keep up with Arizona, and I think there will be some chaos. There's been a lot of chaos in the sport this year. This is one I don't think many people will see coming. Give me the Tigers.
Interesting. I'm going to have to roll with Arizona here. I do think they make it deep in this tournament. I think the Arizona-Baylor matchup will be a sick matchup as well, so I'm going to roll with Arizona.
I have Arizona winning the whole thing, if you guys can even hear me. But I have Arizona. I'm sorry, I'm just getting so fed up with this Wi-Fi. I'm going Arizona here to advance.
All right. We go down now to the East, Purdue, Memphis. I'm going with Memphis. I have this in my regular one as well. I think Purdue is not going to make it past the round of 32. They play a Memphis team that is probably more talented than them, and they have some bodies I think that they can throw at Zach Edey to kind of limit his game. So give me Memphis to pull off an upset here.
Yeah, I can't stand Zach Edey, but I did pick Purdue to win this one.
Maybe if we just hover Joe.
I'm picking Purdue as well. The worst part is I'm hearing everything you guys are saying like perfectly, but I guess I'm so far behind audio-wise. I don't know, but I'm picking Purdue.
All right. Now we go to Duke, Tennessee. This is a anti-Tennessee podcast, so roll Duke here. I think that the way that they've been playing, it continues to go on. Little bit worried that Tennessee might beat them up a little bit physically, just with this young team that hasn't really seen that type of style before. But I do like Duke to pull it out at the end.
Yeah, I'm on Duke too. Joe also heard him say Duke. So.
All right. Kentucky, Kansas State. I think this would be a really fun matchup, but I'm going to go with Kansas State here. Just don't think Kentucky has the horses to make a deep run, and I think Kansas State with Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel are a really, really fun duo that the college basketball, I guess, like casual fans might not know that much about, but I think that they're in for a big tournament.
Yeah, that backcourt's nuts. I'm still going with Kansas State, even though I do like the blue blood of Kentucky, but Kansas State's pretty good, definitely a better team.
I have Kansas State in the Final Four personally, so I'm going Kansas State.
All right, Michigan State, Marquette. I know Joe was talking earlier about He likes Michigan State to potentially win this one. But, Luke, I have Marquette in my Final Four. I know you got them cutting down the nets, so we'll have them moving on here. But, Joe, are you still on Michigan State to win that game?
I am. Sparty is my big upset pick in the second round. I don't know. I just kind of think watching that Marquette team, I said it earlier, the most infuriating thing about UConn was that they couldn't capitalize. Like Marquette both teams forgot how to play offense for like 10 minutes. It was crazy. Marquette left so many opportunities on the table for UConn in the second half they couldn't capitalize. I think Izzo is a good enough coach that if they're leaving that many opportunities on the court, he's going to capitalize and take advantage of it. So I'm going to take Sparty here in the upset over Marquette.
Yeah, I remember the total for that one was like soaring over. And I think it was like 140. What was it? 139.5 or 143.5? One of those. Whatever it was, it looked like it was soaring over, and then there was just no points down the stretch. So, all right. We go to Houston versus Alabama now. Or, excuse me, Auburn. We know how I feel about Auburn. Don't think that they're a good ball club. I think Houston has a cakewalk to the Sweet 16 with or without Marcus Sasser. But if you guys potentially change my mind on this one.
Yeah, no, I got Houston in my Final Four. I'm potentially going to switch them out and probably put them in the championship. I'm between them and Kansas. I don't really know which one I want to pick yet, but Houston definitely winning that game.
Cougs, move on.
All right, number 5, Miami versus number 13, Kent State. Could Kent State continue to pull off some magic, or does the Miami team from last year that made it all the way to the Elite Eight continue to have another good March? I'll go with Miami here. Luke, you got Miami?
Yep. Me and Joe are both holding up the U. Can you see it?
No, because I'm on the screen.
You can't see it. Yeah, we both got Miami.
All right. Now we go to, I guess it's Pitt in our mind, but Pitt versus Xavier in the 11-3 game. I think that one would be fun. A lot of points in that one. Very high-scoring game, but I'll go with Xavier to move on to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I'm with you with Xavier. I like their ability to score quick too. So
Xavier, if I'm even there. Xavier.
All right, number 7, Texas A&M versus number 2, Texas. I know, Luke, you were saying you like Texas A&M to win this one, right?
I do. I mean, I have them in the Elite Eight.
I'm going to go with number 2, Texas. I think that this would be a very good game, come down to the wire. And I think the spread would a lot of people would probably think Texas would be like a 5 or a 6 point favorite. I think this one could be like a 2.5 type line. I think it would be an awesome battle, but I'll have Texas pulling that one out.
Horns up. Texas to the national title game.
All right. We go down now to the West to figure out the last bunch of the Sweet 16. Kansas versus Arkansas. As we talked about at the beginning of the show, Kansas is my national title team. More consistent than Arkansas talent-wise. Arkansas might even be a more talented bunch, but I just think Kansas is more consistent, better coach, national championship point guard as well from the year before. I'll take them to win this one.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be trying to defend their title this year for sure. Kansas.
Yeah, rock chalk.
Number 12, VCU versus number 4, UConn. I touched on how I think Iona is going to beat UConn in the opening round, but if they do get past, I do kind of like their path to at least a Sweet 16 with either VCU or St. Mary's standing in their way. So I'll take UConn here. I think physicality-wise, they match up pretty well against VCU. They won't be scared of the kind of punches that VCU can throw at them. But VCU does pose some of the same problems as Iona, but they are a much more talented team, UConn. So I'll take UConn in this one.
Yeah, give me the Huskies.
UConn.
Number 6, TCU versus number 3, Gonzaga. I think this would be an awesome game, another high-scoring one, but I'll go with Gonzaga here. Without Eddie Lampkin now at TCU, I think Drew Timme will have a field day in this one.
See, TCU is my upset here. I got them in the Sweet 16 upsetting Gonzaga.
All right, Joe.
I'm going Zags, unfortunately. Zags move on.
All right, number 10, Boise State versus number 2, UCLA. If it comes down to this one, I will go with UCLA and the veteran duo of Jaquez and Tiger Campbell.
Yeah, I'm going to go with UCLA as well.
Agreed. Bruins.
All right, back to the top. Send our teams to the Elite Eight now. Number 1, Alabama, or number 13, Furman. Does Furman continue their magic, or Alabama, boys?
I'm going to roll with the Tide on that one. What a road for Bama if this actually happens.
Sadly, Alabama.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think Alabama and potentially Houston have some pretty winnable or cakewalkable roads, I guess we could call them, because Drake or Kent State could win, and they could potentially be playing a 13 or a 12 with the berth to the Elite Eight on the line. So, but yeah, Alabama there. Baylor, Arizona. I would have Baylor winning this game because I have Arizona losing earlier. I'm not as sold on them as it seems like you guys and some other people are. So Arizona's probably going to go cut down the nets when it's all said and done. But I think Baylor, Arizona would be a fun offensive battle, but I'll take the Bears there.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Arizona.
Zona, bear down.
Which that just doesn't make sense to me. Why is it bear down if they're the Wildcats?
Makes zero sense. They're not even like the Bearcats. Like Cincinnati. If Cincinnati said bear down, I'd be like, okay.
That makes sense.
No.
Especially playing the Baylor.
Arizona, bear down.
All right, number 1, Purdue versus number 5, Duke. I think this would be, if we get this matchup, this would be a pretty great game as well. But I'll go Duke here. I'm not a long-term believer in this Purdue team. I said it in the last episode, I believe, or whatever it was when we were bringing them the East. Sometimes losing early in the conference tournament can be beneficial. I think Purdue, it might have been a little bit better. I think it was important for Duke to win just because they were a young team. They needed some experience to win. Purdue, on the other hand, I think they might have benefited from some more time off, just kind of changing some of the stuff they do to adapt to the way the teams have been playing them. But that's just me personally, but I like Duke to win this game.
Yeah, I like Duke as well. I think they're definitely like the toughest team Purdue could possibly match up at this spot with. And then after going through a Memphis team who's been hot, who's been playing really good through Penny Hardaway, like I explained earlier. But yeah, I like Duke as well in this one.
Duke.
Kansas State, Marquette, trip to the Elite Eight. I will take Marquette there.
Marquette.
K-State in the Final Four I have, but we'll go with Marquette advances for the beef.
All right, Houston, Miami. I think that would be a good one. Contrasting styles. Houston's rough it up, defensive, physical presence versus Miami's kind of let's get up and down the floor and score 90 points. Tough pick here, but I'll go with Houston to edge it out.
I'm going with Houston as well. I see Joe holding up the U though.
All right. Well, Houston moves on.
I have the U in my bracket.
Xavier versus Texas now with a trip to the Elite Eight on the line. I'll go Texas. I think Xavier. Joey Buckets was talking about it. Xavier's rotation, especially without Fremantle, it's down to like 7 guys now. I think that they might get a little bit worn out, especially with the way that they play up and down. I think Texas will kind of be able to take advantage of that with a deep roster and beat them up a little bit.
Yeah, I like Texas as well. I saw Joe with the horns too. So
horns up.
All right, Kansas, UConn. I know I have Kansas winning it all in mine, but I think I might roll with UConn here. If UConn makes it to this point, I think it's going to be because they're making shots. And also what I talked about in the breakdown of the entire West region that I'm worried about with Kansas is their lack of a true big this year and potentially their rebounding. And when you have Dama Sonogo and Donovan Clingan inside with KJ Adams going against them, I'm going to take those 2 bigs. And like I said, if UConn does make it this far, I think confidence is going to be riding really high, and they're shooting the 3-ball really well. And if they're shooting the 3-ball and getting up and down the floor like we've seen in spurts this season, they're really tough to beat. So don't like this matchup for Kansas, so I'm actually going to ride with UConn there.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coyle. I think UConn has a really high ceiling compared to other 3, 4, 5 seed teams. I think UConn can definitely, if they get hot shooting, they can compete with any team. So I like that, but I'm gonna roll with Kansas.
Joe?
Huskies.
All right, short and sweet. Number 3, Gonzaga versus number 2, UCLA, trip to the Elite Eight. I'll go with Gonzaga. I think the injuries down the stretch for UCLA is going to be a little too much, and I've been talking about it all night, but I think Gonzaga's playing with house money, nothing to lose. Let's go out there and get Drew Timme to another Final Four potentially.
Yeah, I have UCLA in my bracket. This is one that I had TCU actually in mind instead of Gonzaga. So I'll roll with UCLA.
I have Gonzaga, UConn in the Elite Eight in my own bracket, so I will go Gonzaga here. Just Coyle, like you said, too many injuries for UCLA to overcome here. I feel like UCLA is going to have to fight their way through the first 2 rounds too. They're not really going to get to be comfortable. Give me Gonzaga.
All right, the Elite Eight set, and if this is the Elite Eight we wind up getting, you'll hear no complaints from me. This will be pretty awesome. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Arizona, in the region of overs, as I nicknamed it. And I think this is another game where everyone is going to be wanting to take the over. These two match up. I think Alabama wins. I'm really against Arizona making it this far. I think they're so dependent on playing at home. They've really struggled. Like all their losses pretty much this year, I think except one, are away from home. And I just don't think that they can defend at the level that Alabama has shown the ability to in spurts this year. So give me Alabama to win this game and go into the Final Four.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Arizona here. I like your reasoning for Alabama, but I think the same sentence you could also say Alabama has their same problems that I think can catch up to them this late in the tournament. I'm just gonna roll with Arizona here. I think they're more complete overall as a team.
I mean, I have Arizona cutting down the nets, but my whole thing with picking against Alabama is it's just like I had a gripe with all Nate Oates teams. They rely so much on shooting. If they're not making shots, like if they have one off night, they're dead. And I just think that's going to happen, and that's why I'm going with the Wildcats.
All right. Duke Marquette, trip to the Final Four on the line. My bracket, I took Marquette, so I'll roll with that here. I think a little bit more of veteran presences on that team kind of outweighs Duke and Marquette. Some success over this past week in Madison Square Garden. This is where that game will be as well. I think they kind of ride that success that they've had there and turn that into a trip to the Final Four.
Yeah, give me MU.
I would personally go Duke there, but I mean, you guys have Marquette going to at least the Final Four, so.
But you're a loser, so you don't have them.
I don't have good Wi-Fi, so my opinion doesn't matter. So,
all right, number 1, Houston. Number 2, Texas. The Battle of Texas. This is, I think Tony was saying it earlier. Like, this is might not have been Tony. Someone was saying it to me. This is just like a pure, like Big 12 game. Like, Texas won't be fazed by the way Houston plays because that's what basically they've seen all year. Just really tough physical teams. More talented offensively teams. So I don't think Texas is fazed by the style of Houston in this one. And I'll send Texas to the Final Four if I have anything to say about it.
I like Houston here. I'm a big Houston guy, as I've been in past years. I do think they make it to the Final Four this year. But you guys like Texas, so let's roll with them.
Joe's got the
Texas.
horns. Joe has the horns.
Horns to the natty. That's my pick in my real bracket.
All right. Last pick to go to the Final Four, UConn Gonzaga. Toss up here. Let's make things interesting. Give me Drew Timme to the Final Four, potentially getting that national championship that he covets.
Yeah, I picked Kansas last round. I think if UConn does get here, though, like you were saying earlier, Coyle, is if they just get hot shooting and they're just completely unstoppable with Sanogo down low as well. But I'm going to roll with Gonzaga if this happens.
All right. Zags to the Final Four. Sorry, Joe. All right, we got an
understandable.
We have an Arizona Marquette matchup in the Final Four, 2-2s. So no 1 seeds in the Final Four. Be very surprised if that doesn't happen. And then we got number 2 Texas versus number 3 Gonzaga. So Arizona Marquette, another game that I could see up and down would be these would all be great watches just because no one's going to be playing in like the 40s or 50s. These are going to be high 70s most likely games. I don't know. Someone else. Oh, well, I guess Luke has Arizona or Luke has Marquette. Joe has Arizona.
I have Arizona.
Down to me, right?
Down to you.
Yeah.
All right. Luke, think of a number, or what am I thinking between 1 and 10?
Oh God, this is for the title. 6.
I was thinking 7, so Marquette it is.
There we
That's
go.
really what it would come down to for me. Arizona more talent, but I think Marquette kind of plays better together, and I think Marquette's like a team on a mission. Picked at the bottom of the Big East at the beginning of the year, and they've really played well and came together over the course of the season. So give me Marquette there. Texas versus Gonzaga. I'll go with Texas here. I think Gonzaga eventually runs out of steam, but get into a Final Four based off of kind of what they were towards the beginning of the season where they struggled a little bit against some of these high major teams. I think getting to the Final Four anytime you're Gonzaga would be a major accomplishment, but I like Texas. Joe, you were kind of talking about it earlier. They might be like a team of destiny with all the adversity they've dealt with this year. One of the more talented bunches still in the country. I'll take them to the national title.
Yeah, if this happens, sorry. Go ahead, Joe. You're good.
Sorry, Lucas. I also had Texas to the Natty, so I would take Texas as well, especially this being in Houston. Imagine imagine a Texas football crowd, but instead there's a small basketball court in the middle of the football field. Like you might have 90,000 people screaming for Texas. So give me the Longhorns here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the matchup a lot.
All right, Texas versus Marquette. If you told me at the beginning of the season Texas would be in the national title, I would have believed you. I thought they were a top 10 team. Marquette, on the other hand, I believe was picked to finish 9th in the Big East. I don't think anyone would believe that. I would love to see what their preseason odds were. But what I've said throughout the conference tournaments, I said it throughout football season as well. You saw it in the NFL playoffs with the Eagles against the Giants, the talent getting exposed, the college football national title with Georgia exposing TCU's lack of talent. I think that always eventually will catch up to you at the end. We always kind of see that in March. And Marquette making it this far wouldn't be a miracle, but they are not the more talented team in this one. And like you were saying, Joe, it's basically like a home game for Texas down there. Those fans will show up and show out. They're not exactly known for their basketball fandom, more so their football, but they do have a good alumni base, and I think they'll show out in this one. And I think there's a good argument that they are the best team in college basketball, and that's why I'll pick them to cut down the nets.
Also, Luke, I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to get my point in before my audio probably cuts out again. You know how much Texas fans are going to want to stick it to Shaka Smart if this is the national title game?
I didn't even think about that one.
That'd be bad.
Gosh, this would be I think if this were the national title game, Luke, I know you have Marquette winning the whole thing. This would be like Georgia TCU type of blowout. I think Texas, if this is the setup in Houston, Texas getting to play their old coach, I think Texas could win this game big. That's just me. Yeah. And I would pick Texas to win the national title.
Yeah, if this matchup happens, I'm screwed. But in mine, it's either Kansas or Houston. I don't know, but we'll see. I would roll with Texas in this situation, but give me anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And Beef will make the final score prediction of 77-72. Texas covers the 2.5-point spread that I projected at, and we go over 145.5.
There you go.
Submit. And it is done. There is the official beef bracket. We have the Longhorns cutting down the nets, boys. Everyone throw them up.
Horns up. Can Joe hear us? I can't see if Joe's doing it or not. Horns up, Joe. He's not going to do it. He's not going to hear it.
I have the horns up. I do. I swear I have the horns up.
There we go. There we go.
All right, horns up.
I swear I have them up. I've had them up the whole time. I
want to clip this one for social media. But all right, finally, we're done. How many hours of podcast later? Every region, East, West, Midwest, South, and the entire bracket broken down. That's what we do for you here at Beef Up Front. Any last second comments, guys, before we head out?
Looking forward to it. It's March, baby. It's here.
Best time of the year. Best 5 hours of my life, Beef. Talking ball with the boys. Hopefully you can hear me, because if not, suck. Great podcasting. I'm the weak link in the family with my terrible Wi-Fi, but it was a great day. Happy to be talking ball. Can't wait for Thursday.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Enjoy the brackets. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the beers. Enjoy the good times with the friends. We'll be back next week, I guess, to break down the actual round of Sweet 16 and Elite Eight, Joe. But till then, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will talk next time.